Have you ever wondered why some people have no withdrawal while others suffer? Or why the same person has a horrible withdrawal in one quit attempt and no withdrawal in another? Well, your experience of the withdrawal has nothing to do with how long you smoke, how much you smoke, or when you quit. It's something else. And in this video, I will show you why you don't have to suffer from the withdrawal, even if you have been smoking and vaping all your life. My name is Nasia Davos. I'm an ex-smoker, psychologist, and I help people break habits and addictions that I've overcome myself. So the truth about withdrawal is that we think withdrawal is the bad aftermath of quitting smoking. We see it as our punishment for quitting smoking, and we think it's unavoidable. When I was a smoker, I was terrified of the withdrawal, and this prevented me from quitting smoking. I remember looking at my calendar, asking myself, what's the right time to quit smoking? When is the best time to be irritable and not ruin my life, basically? Well, I never found that time. And maybe you feel the same way. You're planning for the withdrawal, or you're delaying quitting smoking even though you want to be smoke-free. At the same time, it's a fact that there are people who quit smoking and have no withdrawal. Like our member Roy, he was a smoker for 42 years. And when I asked him, did you have withdrawal? He said no. How is that possible? Or what else happens? The same person can have different withdrawal experience in different quit attempts. Like our member Amberly, in one quit attempt, she was physically unwell, sitting in her bathtub, wanting a cigarette. And after following our program, she had no withdrawal. And there are more and more and more people with the same experiences. This happens because they have what the civic method calls a silent withdrawal. And by the end of this video, you will know what it is. So to understand how to avoid withdrawal symptoms, you need to know what they are. This will give you control and freedom and an easy quit. So there are two types of withdrawal symptoms. The first type is psychological withdrawal symptoms. Symptoms like anxiety, irritability, low mood, emotional eating, low energy, insomnia, lack of focus. These are psychological withdrawal symptoms. And no, I'm not going to tell you these are in your head. Well, sort of. See, our mind affects our body. As a psychologist, I've seen this in my education. I've seen it helping thousands of smokers every year, and most importantly, we know this from science. For example, the placebo effect, where people take a sugar pill thinking it's going to make them feel sleepy, thinking it's a sleeping pill, and they actually fall asleep. Or the field of psychoneuroimmunology, which is how our psychology impacts our immune system. And we see how natural cancer killer cells increase or decrease depending on our psychology. Or we know it from studies on visualization, where people visualize a workout, they don't go to the gym, and they actually increase their strength. So research is clear on that. Your mind affects your physical experience. So why am I telling you all this? Because many, if not most of the symptoms we dread are physiological responses to a mental state. For example, let me ask you this. Have you ever watched a scary movie and something sudden happens and you jumped from fear? Well, what happened there? You had a physiological response to the mental state of fear. And by the way, that's why I hate scary movies. I don't watch them. Or let me ask you this. Have you ever been so stressed? You had a deadline, you had to give a public speech to your church, your community, your work, and your stomach was tied in knots, and you had cold sweats, and you had shortness of breath. What happened there? You had a physiological response to the mental state of stress. So these are physiological responses to a mental state. Now, imagine this. Imagine you quit smoking, and you miss it, and you feel deprived, and you want it, and you go about your day, and every situation is a reminder of what you lack, what you don't have, and you're in that state of deprivation. When you're in that mental state of deprivation, are you going to be relaxed or stressed? Stressed. Are you going to be happy or sad? Sad. Are you going to be focused or unable to focus? Unable. Are you going to be energized or just drained? Drained. So all the withdrawal symptoms we are terrified of are physiological responses to the mental state of deprivation. So you can see now that you will be physically unwell when you're mentally deprived. And deprivation is not a normal part of quitting smoking or vaping. Forget what they're telling you. It's not normal. Deprivation comes from the mental addiction, which is how much you believe you enjoy smoking, how much you believe you need it, and how ingrained it is in your life. When you feel deprived, it means that you quit smoking, but you still miss it. When you feel deprived, it means that you have stopped your smoking behavior, you have stopped your vaping behavior, but in your mind, you continue to think and operate as a smoker. Your routine feels incomplete and you are deprived. It's not a good place to be. So the mental addiction is an invisible chain that causes the real pain. But when you overcome the mental addiction, you don't feel deprived, so you don't experience these psychological symptoms. So it's clear now that the vast majority of the unpleasant withdrawal symptoms are nothing but a physiological response to the mental state of deprivation. And when you're mentally free from smoking, you don't experience those symptoms. And this is so important, and that's why in the CBQ method there is an entire quit smoking stage, stage 2, where we reprogram the mind to stop wanting to smoke and vape. So that's the psychological withdrawal symptoms. Now, the second type of withdrawal symptoms is physical, but those symptoms are barely noticeable and short-lived. Most importantly, what nobody's telling you is that those symptoms are signs your body is healing. Withdrawal is literally the addiction and the toxins withdrawing from your body, so it's good for you. For example, if you have cough or shortness of breath, this is a sign your lungs are clearing out mucus and toxins. If you have tingling in your hands and your feet, this is a sign that more oxygen is flowing through your body. If you have constipation, this is a sign your digestive system is healing. Physical cravings is a sign that nicotine is leaving your body. So these physical healing signs, they're not painful. They're a minor discomfort, barely noticeable, and most importantly, they are signs you're detoxing. They are signs you're getting healthier. Without them, your body cannot become healthier, so you want this. And most of those symptoms can be minimized and even avoided completely through nutrition. That's why in the CBQ Quit Smoking program on stage 4, in the last 2 days of the program after our quit date, I give our members specific guidelines and recipes to heal faster and minimize those withdrawals. And a big part of that is having stable blood sugar levels. And what I want you to do from now on is to think about your withdrawal symptoms as freedom signs. Not as reminders that you don't smoke anymore or you're not allowed to smoke anymore, but as freedom signs, because they are. And earlier I told you about the CBQ method and that it has a system so you can have a silent withdrawal. And now you know what it is. To have a silent withdrawal, it means to have a psychological withdrawal that's non-existent because you have overcome the mental addiction and therefore you don't feel deprived. And it also means that the physical healing happens in the background without disrupting your life. So you can live your life normally. You can go to work, you can go on vacation, you can have fun. Maybe you're gonna cough a little bit because your lungs are healing, but you're gonna be fine. You don't have to pause your life. Now, of course, we can see that the key is breaking the chains of the psychological addiction to nicotine. That's the difference that makes the difference. So if you want to quit smoking, but the withdrawal has been stopping you, I will show you how to have a silent withdrawal in my upcoming Quit Smoking Masterclass. We will go deeper into what is the psychological addiction to smoking and how to break the mental, behavioral, and physical attachment to smoking. I will also share with you the common mistakes that keep you stuck and relapsing, and I will also give you a clear path to becoming smoke-free. A path that thousands of smokers have walked before you. So you can go to cbqwebinar.com so you can see the date and time of the upcoming masterclass. This is for you. If you have been smoking for decades, if you feel too addicted, if you've tried to quit smoking many times before, but you always suffer from cravings, you always suffer from withdrawals. And this is for you if you have been wanting to make a change in your life that will transform not only your health, but also your mental health, your finances, your relationships, because you start by transforming the relationship you have with yourself. But I need to tell you, this masterclass is not going to be for you if you're expecting me to give you the same advice that you always get or give you generic tips on how to push through and use your willpower. And I'm definitely not going to guilt you or scare you into quitting smoking because this doesn't work. What I believe quitting smoking is all about, it's about freedom and empowerment. I believe quitting smoking is not about pushing through. It's about no longer desiring smoking so you can release it from your life. Quitting smoking isn't about giving up. It's about letting go. Quitting smoking isn't about giving up, sacrificing, suppressing, denying, hating. It's about letting go. And that's what I will show you on this upcoming masterclass. You can go to cbqwebinar.com and you can also find the link in the description of this video. So if you think this is right for you, I'd love to see you there. Until then, choose freedom.